Hi everyone, and welcome back to A Painter's Vlog. My name is Julia Ha and I am an oil painter here living in Brooklyn and beyond, and today I would like to talk about a topic that we all experience as artists, whether you're old in the game, whether you're new in the game, whether you're old in age, whether you're young in age, wherever you're at in your career, you are going to experience this phenomenon, and that phenomenon is rejection. So grab a snack or grab a booklet to take notes, whatever your mojo is, however you like to ingest information. Please stick along for the ride, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story as well as share some of my rejections with you and offer you my advice, basically coming from my personal experience as to how to get through some of these rejections. Starting from the beginning, I started becoming a very serious painter in 2006. This was my graduating year of college, and this is when I really decided, okay, this is it. This is my path. I can't really deny this anymore. I'm just a painter. I'm not a drawer. I'm not a photographer. Even though I was a photographer at a certain point, I am a full-blown painter. That is when I decided to dedicate myself fully to my craft. And that is also when I started to dip my toes in the water, so to speak, with regard to applying for things. So the first thing that I applied for, I believe, was in 2007, and it was through the Kalamazoo Artist Council. It was I believe it was the Emerging Artist Grant, which is pretty awesome that they offer that there for emerging artists. I applied and I got rejected, and I was so disheartened. Oh, my tender young heart. So I was just young, and it was my first brutal rejection, and I remember opening the email, and I also remember crying. It was really hard because it almost brings tears to my eyes now, because as an artist, you are putting yourself out there. The reason why we're creating is because of an impetus, some kind of compelling thing. We have to do it. And with that being said, we're kind of laying our soul bare on canvas, paper, or whatever your medium is. So when you get a rejection, it's hard not to take it really personal. So in that moment, with my first rejection, I received my first wounding, my first bruise, and I actually took that rejection slip and went out to a party. I had the rejection slip in my bag, and I went out to a party with my friend Eric Froh and a couple others, Joshua Ingersoll. We danced and just drank like we did in college all the time, and I took the rejection slip on the back porch and burnt it. And it felt really good temporarily, but I knew that that wasn't the end. So what I did was I dusted myself off and I reapplied, and I actually got the grant the second time, which kind of gave me my first lesson, which is if you are rejected from the get-go or rejected once by a certain foundation or organization, that doesn't mean that you're going to get rejected a second time. So you should always feel encouraged after you dust yourself off to reapply, because they might keep that in the back of their head if your application is stronger and more refined and well thought out. They will take that in consideration, hopefully, depending on how big the applicant pool is, because I feel like a lot of these foundations and organizations get hundreds and hundreds of applicants, which can make it a little bit trickier for them. So, you know, and then over the years, I just kept applying continuously, and I've got to be real with you. I have not received another grant since 2008. That is my secret, but no longer. I'm going to be telling the world this now. I have not received any funding for my work since 2008. So what I've had to do since I became a full-time artist when I was 30 years old, I'm 37 now, I had an investor. So I had an investor that invested in a certain portion of my paintings, and, you know, I sold my paintings and just found ways to fund my own career. I was running around. I was a personal assistant for several artists, and, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And now I'm living in New York, and as you guys know from my last serious talk in this very spot, I gave up being a full-time artist, which For the record, I'm always a full-time artist because I'm never giving up the act of painting, so I just want to set that record straight once again. I only mean that I've got side hustles, okay? So, you know, we have to do what it takes. If we don't get the funding, and sometimes actually when you apply for funding, they're gonna ask, hey, if you didn't get this grant, how would you do this project otherwise? Would you even go through with this project? How would you come up with your own funding? They want to know that you are a go-getter and you're not just like, oh, I'm just gonna give up on the project because I didn't get this grant. So now I want to talk about all the specific types of rejections I've had. So first and foremost are just organizations and foundations. So I have a list here and I'm going to kind of refer to my list. These are just a few of my grant rejections. So let's go ahead and go through some of these. The Pollock-Krasner grant. The Harpo grant. Oh, that was 3 times. There's the 4th one pending. The Barbara Deming Fund. The Artadia grant. Much to my dismay, I narrowly missed this window this year and I damn near cried. I didn't, but I had missed it by like 1 day and I had gotten the date mixed up. I digress. The Elizabeth Greenshields grant. The Puffin Book grant. The Ruth and Harold Shenven Foundation. And so moving on, and there's others too, I'm just going to list a few off. As far as gallery open call rejections, I've gotten rejected by the Field Projects twice. The Painting Center, First Street Gallery, Outwin Bouchever Portrait Competition 3 times. Do you guys know that the Outwin Bouchever Portrait Competition comes along every 2 years? I've been rejected 3 times. I'm in this for the long haul, are you? So next is solo rejections. So I applied for 2 solo shows this year. I've already gotten 4 rejections this year. So I went in hard January through April and applied for 4 different opportunities this year. I've already gotten 3 rejections, or 4 was it? Anyway, I've gotten several rejections and I just kind of open up my email. Now I'm to the point where I open up the email and I'm like, oh, okay, I got another rejection. Let's go ahead and file this one for the rejection folder, which I'm now actually keeping because I'm kind of taking pride in this. I mean, I'm on a losing streak, so I want to keep this going, you know? So as far as solo show rejections, the reason why I decided, okay, I'm finally going to make this video, which I've been wanting to make this video for a while, was because yesterday I opened my email and I got another rejection from the Q Art Foundation, or the Q Art Gallery, CUE. And I was really excited about this opportunity because they basically are a foundation that offers a solo art show for an emerging artist who's never had a show in New York, which I haven't. I haven't even really been in a group show in New York yet. And I was really excited about it. So when I opened it, I was already feeling kind of down, which really set the tone for how I felt after I received the email. And I had already sat down to my easel, so I was like, I need to take a moment. So I meditated for a while and I was like, I'm gonna make this video because I want to help you so much, because every artist is going to experience this throughout their career. So yeah, so I got the Q Art Gallery rejection. I'm still waiting on the Jerome Foundation via the Queens Museum. That's for another solo exhibition, and that one's really exciting. I believe they offer $10,000 plus a panel to help you. And I feel like I would be a good fit for that exhibition. That would be next year if I got that. As far as other rejections, so I want to talk about gallery rejections or gallery director rejections, or basically just person-to-person rejections, or email rejections, or message rejections. What I mean by all of this is galleries or gallery directors saying that they're following your work, or they ask you to specifically write them back or send them images, and then when you do, which has happened to me, they don't write back. For me, I would much rather prefer a courtesy write back and just be like, I'm not really interested right now in your work, but I am keeping you on file because I think that your work has the potential to grow. I don't understand when people who work in the gallery, specifically the directors, which has happened to me a few times, they ask for images and then when I do that and I reciprocate, they never write back. That to me is the most disheartening form of communication, or lack of communication, or the most disheartening form of being rejected. It's almost as if they're saying you're not worth my time for a, you know, less than a minute long response to write you back and just let you know that we're not really interested in this time. Because I'm able to handle this. You don't have to treat me with kid gloves, you know. I have a very thick skin. So I think that kind of rejection bothers me more than any of the others. And then there have been a couple opportunities that came my way throughout the years, where one in particular, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on blast because it's been such a long time since this has happened, and I kind of want to talk about it now that I've got the camera rolling and I'm in the moment. So I was granted a solo exhibition at the Chicago Cultural Center. This was back in, I don't know, I think somewhere around like 2012 maybe. So Lanny Silverman at the Chicago Cultural Center actually granted me a solo show, a solo exhibition. He gave me the exact dates in which my exhibition was to be held. Now at that time, the commissioner did a rapid firing of many people, one of them including my friend Deborah Purdon, as well as Lanny Silverman. Now in that changing of hands, I was very worried about my show. I had already been working for weeks, for months, on this exhibition of all of this work surrounding my grandmother, her life. It was a very, very, and still is a very important work to me. I'm sorry, I'm still feeling emotional about it. Okay, take a deep breath. I'm not really emotional about this particular experience. It's more so an accumulation of like, guys, what happened to integrity, you know? So I went back to the Cultural Center for a meeting with the new director, and I'm not gonna name names, but I went there and we had a meeting, and he was like, I'm sorry, you no longer have a solo show. So that is like, for me, total, utter lack of integrity, especially to a young artist who's been granted a show, who is visibly talented, who's visibly excited, who's visibly been working on a show for months. It is just an outright horrible thing to do. So those kind of experiences have happened to me as well. Now, I don't really know what their reasoning was. It might have just been they had too much on their plate, but I don't care. They could have made it happen. And then another kind of a rejection was, there was a gallery here in New York, Half Gallery, and I was talking with the director at the time, and I still really love Half Gallery. I really enjoy their program. I think they're very avant-garde. But they were doing a series of prints, and I signed all this paperwork and did all of this thing, you know, all of this stuff, and they actually sent me 2 proofs in the mail because they were going to run a print of 2 of my paintings. So I had gotten the proofs, I was really excited, and then I got an email saying, you know what, we've decided not to run with your print. That one's a little more understandable, I suppose, just because I was younger in my career and maybe they just decided maybe it's not the best or wisest choice. But still, it's just kind of like, I'm so much about word, I'm so much about integrity, and if you say you're gonna do something, then I would hope and expect and trust for you to carry through with it. So, okay, what I'm saying, artists, all of you beautiful freaking creatures who are putting yourself on the line continuously, keep going. So one of my favorite analogies is this guy who's hacking away to reach this plethora of diamonds underground. Right before he gets there, he gives up and he turns around and leaves it. And then in the meantime, the guy above him is just like, I'm going for it, bitch. Like, I'm gonna get in there. And it's always that moment. The universe will test you. It's that moment right before you're a successful moment, because there will be many in your career, when you might decide to give up, always remember that. It might be that moment right before you strike that gold, right before you strike those diamonds, right before you get the grant or you get into the show or you get a solo show. Always remember that you should never give up, because it could be that one opportunity or that one person that just opens the door for you and your career could explode. So I'm just very cognizant of that, and one of the ways I get through this is just through the act of patience. So now moving forward, now that I've told you a little bit about my story and showed you some of my beautiful rejections, so you should all start to gather your own collection of rejections. I want to talk about what to do if you're rejected. Actually, what to do when you're rejected, because if you're an artist that has never been rejected, I'm very wary of that, and I'm confused. So yeah, you're gonna get rejected, okay? So the first thing is to remember that you wouldn't even be experiencing that sense of disappointment if you hadn't put yourself on the line. So imagine it this way. Someone presents you with an opportunity, and it just comes out of the blue one day. And you're like, oh my God, this is amazing, but this opportunity has the potential to turn my life upside down. What am I gonna do? And you start pacing back and forth. And don't forget that that opportunity wasn't there 5 minutes ago. So if you're not setting yourself up to fail, you're also not setting yourself up to win. Basically, when disappointment or lack of achievement is felt, just dust your shoulder off and keep moving. The important thing is to keep moving. It's so important to master your ego, be staunch, be stoic, and just keep soldiering on. So my second word of advice is to meditate. So yesterday when I received that rejection, I was like, no. I'm not even gonna start painting yet until I put a pillow on the floor, I sit down, I cross my legs, and I meditate, because I need to figure out why I'm feeling so uncomfortable. So one of the things about meditation that I'm learning is you have to really love yourself. You have to really be comfortable with yourself, because we have a lot of flaws. We are constantly in a state of learning, and there's going to be some nasty shit that pops up when you're meditating about yourself specifically. So you really have to become your own best friend. So sit your ass down, meditate. When you receive that email, it's okay to cry at first, yell, blow some steam off. Do not drink alcohol, okay? Unless you're doing it out of happiness. Sit down and close your eyes and think about why you're really feeling that sense or that lack of self-worth or that hurt. So what I realized yesterday, it was a massive realization. It is much easier to feel hurt than it is to feel unstoppable. But the important thing to realize is that that feeling of hurt rests in your ego. And by that I just mean that feeling of hurt rests in that ongoing voice that says you're not worth it or you're not good enough. And when you master the feeling of being unstoppable, having patience, that takes absolute discipline and courage forever. End of story. So yeah, so when you're feeling hurt, that's your ego speaking. And it's a lot easier to feel that way. And it's a lot harder to feel unstoppable. When I had that realization yesterday, I was like, oh my God. You know, so the fine art of meditation, just sitting still with your thoughts and the feeling that you're feeling so uncomfortable with what's just happened, is really, really crucial to the process of digesting the information and moving on. The third bit of advice is to discontinue asking why. Why me? Why is my art not good enough? Why does this curator hate me? How come I didn't get the show? Forget about it. Forget about comparing yourself to other people. Forget about answering why, and also consider that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, hundreds of other artists actually also don't have money, and they're also applying to the same exact opportunities. More often than not, the email you're gonna get is gonna say, "Dear so-and-so, thank you so much for submitting your application. We received so many, hundreds and hundreds," or they might even give a specific number, over 5,000 applicants in this round. we're sorry, but your application was not chosen of the thousands. Why should you feel wounded and hurt? We're talking about thousands of people. So just remove that aspect of why and feeling sorry for yourself, because also think about the fact that the curators are coming from a completely different vantage. They might just love abstract work and you're a realist painter. So it could be as simple as that. So the bottom line is you've got to keep plunging forth. And by that, I just mean that being an artist takes utmost courage. You have to constantly jump off the cliff with all of your work, with all of your memories, with everything you've done, and dive fearlessly into the unknown. I know it sounds over the top, but really that's what you're doing. You're putting yourself completely out there and you're letting other people decide, is this work of value? Is this artist ready? Are they going to have a wonderful exhibit? Are they going to make this group show exceptional? I mean, there's all these factors that they're considering as well. So my fourth word of advice is to reverse engineer.
The thing I find fascinating about reverse engineering is if you know where you're going, you have a better chance of getting there. You know, if you've been following my stuff over the last 3-4 years, especially the last couple years, like I speak about reverse engineering all the time. It's how my brain works, and I truly believe it's how a lot of the people that win do things. I do think it's massively important to know what you're trying to accomplish first, not waver from that, make that the North Star, cut out all the other bullshit, know it's black and white, forget the gray, forget the distractions, forget the what ifs, forget the subjectiveness, and address the finish line and then reverse engineer it. Like when you know what you want, when you know where you're going and you're not emotional about it and you don't care what other people think and you don't get distracted, you can get there if you focus on it 24/7, 365 forever. And so I just want to always know what the hell I'm focused on and where I'm going and what I want to do and how do I want it and within what budget and how many, and it just reverse engineer what you want to happen. The problem for so many of you, the reason so few things are happening for a lot of people is they're confused. They don't know what they want. They want 8,000 things. They're just confused. Stop being confused. Figure out what you want, reverse engineer it, and get it.
Now, I'm gonna ask you something really simple. Why are you an artist? Okay. I remember reading Viktor E. Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and he was in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany, and he was basically skin and bones, and the only reason he was kept alive was that he was a psychologist and he was able to provide some help, and he realized that the only thing keeping him alive was his meaning, his purpose in life. So forget everything else. Just wipe the slate clean. Why are you an artist? Remember that. Remember the child in you that had to draw trees. For me, I had to draw cats. I had to draw cats and I had to draw trees and I had to draw clowns, and the bottom line was I had to draw. That's it. And I mean it with all my heart and all my soul, that if I never sold another painting in my lifetime, I would never give up painting, because that is my purpose. That is my service to this world. And I know if you're an artist and you're watching this and you're feeling hurt from rejection, you have to remember that. It is so important to consistently, daily remind yourself of your service to the world. And your particular service is being an artist, alleviating suffering in others, and allowing that intuition and inner voice to transmute onto painting, onto paper, photography, whatever your medium is. And that is the divine speaking through you. Again, I'm so sorry to sound frou-frou or whatever, but that really is the divine speaking through you. That is your purpose. Don't let any of this ancillary bullshit cloud your view. And ask yourself, would I continue doing this if I never got a grant, if I never got a show, if I never made another dime on a painting again? Ask yourself that. If the answer is you could easily move on, then why are you watching this video? My fifth rule of advice is to use your pain, use your hurt, use all of your accumulated experiences and create something positive. So for example, my hope for this particular video is to tell you all of my pain and my hurt and my rejection to help you move through and past yours and let you know that you are not alone, that every single artist in the world experiences this. And I know that if I can help one person through this video feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more positive, then I have done my job. So use that pain, use that anger, use whatever emotion you're feeling that's compelling you to just, you know, like even if you can't describe how you're feeling, use it to create something positive, even if that's just doing something nice for someone else, buying someone a coffee in front of you, or just sitting at the easel to continue creating your work. So you guys, this brings us almost nearly to the end of the video. My sixth rule of advice is to keep going. Oh, look, I'm sweating. So my sixth rule of advice is to keep going, all right? So no matter what, in the face of adversity, you have to keep going. Listen, like I said, I have not gotten a grant or an opportunity like that since 2008. Really? It's 2019 right now. That's over a decade, and I'm still over here applying to opportunities because I know that I'm about to reach those diamonds, and you know, I don't want you to give up either. So you have to keep going. You have to pull your bootstraps on, use all of your fortitude, use all of the energy you can muster, and just keep creating. That is your purpose. That is why you're here. And I am not going to allow you to stop. And you should be your own best friend, and you should not allow yourself to stop. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this video could help you. My bottom line is I actually don't think I have enough rejections. You know, I know that sounds funny, but I feel like if I had more rejections, I might have one more yes. You know what I mean? So, you know, try to go out there and make it your goal to get as many rejections as possible. Obviously remaining positive and, you know, and just being diplomatic and being realistic. You know, no one ever said that you deserved anything. No one really deserves anything, you know, and you're also not going to receive anything unless you work really, really fucking hard. So you have to consistently put yourself out there every day. And even if that just means sitting at your easel and working for an hour each day, then fine. Whatever that means for you. But I encourage you to apply for all the opportunities you can. Go to all the galleries you can, talk to all the directors you can within reason, you know, make sure that you're still acting with integrity. Just try not to get discouraged, even if it's for a moment. It's okay to cry. It's okay to beat your pillow. It's okay to, you know, brew a cup of coffee. It's okay to feel sorry for yourself, but if you do this for longer than a minute, it's not really going to bring you any closer to what you desire as success for yourself. So thank you so much for watching. Please leave any comments below or any questions, and if this video in any way, shape, or form helped you, please give it a thumbs up and share with a friend. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.